target market's future state or ideal. It's really their ideal state is here. So I was trying to make that red. Cool. So that's here. And then what we have here are like Shae's 5 steps or 3 steps or like, what are the phases of the bridge that get them from from their current state to their ideal state. So like let's say that, and this is where I'm going to need some of your help because in terms of who it is that we're trying to solve and what kind of problems they're dealing with. Let's say hypothetically, it's like in the guy's case, for example, where a lot of the guys start is that they're not feeling particularly motivated. They kind of feel like they're in a kind of cycle. They're kind of feeling like they they're not their old driven self. They're kind of distracted all the time. They're not feeling their best self, but they don't know why. So they're just kind of going through the motions. That's our guys. So we could break down those into like going through the motions, not feeling their best self, blah blah blah. That would be point number one, two, three here, like that, right? And we can do that for your one. And then on this side is kind of like how they want to feel. And maybe they've not even given thought to how they want to feel. But when we say it, if we've done our work well, then they'll be like, fuck yeah, that's how I want to feel. It's just like, and to my understanding, it's like fucking clear about their future and the plan. Another one is um, confident and excited about their capability to do it. I don't know if that you can see the whole screen. Anyway, yeah, cool. Capable about their capability to do it. And then maybe the third one would be um, surrounded by great friends, surrounded by great friends on the same wavelength. Does that make sense so far? Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
I think we're back. Are we back? Hello.
Hello.
We're back.
I could see and hear everything you're doing. And then
Really?
when you said, hello, can you hear me? And then you went like frozen. And I'm like, yes, I can hear it.
Sorry. So does
Yeah.
this make sense what I'm sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the final step is like, um, and what's under the bridge is there what we call common misconceptions. So this is like the stuff that they've been trying to do that's not really been working out for them. E.g., it's just like watching YouTube videos, doom scrolling, going on holidays, trying to distract themselves, hoping it will pass. That's like that's that's kind of the misconception. So that's how much I know the target market, like I've done a lot of research into this. So then it's like then we have our methodology on how we get them from one to like across the bridge. And then once we have that, that's a really strong foundation because we can do so much with it and we can come back to this at any time. And then when we design a program, our marketing will be a lot easier. It'll be a lot easier for us to showcase our value and our methodology and our structure. And then when we design the physical program, we'll have the phases to take them through also. What do you think about this?
Mhm. That makes sense. And it makes it like good to see it like or like in front of your face.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, could you tell me, Shay, like, and we don't worry about this framework for now because I can just like we can just brainstorm it out below and then we can plug it into the framework. So could you tell me, Shay, like when you think of the people that in your heart are coming to you that you want to serve, whether they've physically come to you, like in reality, or like in your heart you just feel called to serve a certain demographic of people. Can you tell me about who these people are?
It's interesting because it changes. So it's almost like I just want to help everyone, but I know that that's
Yeah.
not
And if it's
necessarily.
not demographic, you can feel free to talk about what you want to talk about. Like, um,
Yeah.
you know what, I just want to help people with this, or I want to help people with this. I don't know who the people are, but I want to do this.
Yeah.
Whatever
Well,
way
I yeah, I guess because there's like male and female want like probably need different things in that. So they are two different genres. But when I do think about females, um, and I guess males as well, like when they're just feeling lost and not really don't really have a direction of where they kind of want to go on their journey, it's like getting them started on their journey, like helping them identify what they want to work on. So I guess identifying problems with people to help them understand. So um, yes, it's so hard. It's in my head, but when I try and put it into words, it's so hard, like
to.
out loud.
No, that's what
Um,
we're here for. Don't worry, you're doing perfect.
and just like I guess when we were speaking yesterday, just about maybe not having a good relationship with people, especially their family, and just them kind of feel like they're trying everything and it's not working. Um, just I guess what Chris was saying as well. He thinks that he could do things, but it probably won't work. Like just those people that do have that motivation to want to try like want to fix their relationships with people that they care about or is part of their family or even relationships like intimate relationships like helping them like yeah people feeling lost in that area and not knowing what to do or not having the tools or the education to be able to communicate effectively with the other person and like so that like yeah does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm writing it all down.
uh, what else and then yeah, because I was working because I'm trauma informed as well, like with kids and things like that. I feel like I can, and then I've had my own life experience that's been terrible. I feel like I can draw on that as well in different areas. And I guess when I think about women that have come from, maybe domestic violent relationships and just not trusting men and maybe allowing them to find trust again and heal that part of them. Like, so people that are feeling trapped in their past, not knowing how to look forward to, love again and to trust men again and to have their boundaries solid and obviously find their voice as well. And I feel like that's something that I personally have found is my voice in relationships because I never used to. Um, so I think that was really empowering and I would like other women to feel that way.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
Yeah, and just again with the family stuff I've mentioned, I used to have a terrible relationship with my parents, very toxic. I used to get highly emotional. I guess sometimes I still do. I just don't explode as much as I used to. Um, and then yeah, I don't react as much to their unhealed stuff. And I don't allow it to get to me. So I'd like to help other people, men and women, maybe women, because I see my sister struggling with it now, and she thinks she needs to go to therapy because she's like, if mum dies, like I have no, like I don't care. So which is really shit because she doesn't understand that when she does, it will hit her hard. But just help people through that and identify that stuff. If that makes, yeah. So that all that sort of, and forgiveness and like finding forgiveness and people who um, don't know how to do that or aren't aware that that's what they need to actually do and like go inwards instead of blaming. Although, yeah, I'm just rambling on about the type of people that I would like to help or the outcomes that I would like them to have.
Beautiful. So good, Shay. It's amazing. Hmm.
But then I'm like, now what is that? So how do I do that? That's where I'm like, I get stuck because I know that a lot of these people need to do that inner child stuff and go back to all those things and do all those things. So a lot of like when we talk about develop like a program, inner child healing is definitely in there. Like there has to be a whole thing about that because if it wasn't for that part of me, for me, like my journey, and I'm just sourcing from my own experience when I think about all this as well, is that like if I didn't go back and meet myself at a younger age, I probably wouldn't have been able to um, get to where I am now if I didn't go back there,
For sure.
which is clear as day what you need to do. But some people don't recognize that, and that's why I pop it into some of our sessions when I feel like they're struggling, and I go back and say, you know, you can hold yourself now as your older self, and what would you say to him to help him get out of that room, or like, you know, and guide them through that when they get that. And I think that's why I want to do it so much is when I see them get that empowerment and that release from that moment, it makes me feel like really wholesome and warm. So
Oh,
then I'm like, okay,
totally.
definitely something that that means that it aligns with me. And when that happens and there's that success, I just feel like I want to tear up just being so happy for them and like that release. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm like, okay, I really think that I need to focus on something and get better at stuff in that. Um, yeah,
So good, Shay.
yeah. Um, I guess if we're going on the need to do list, um, obviously they need to do that deep self reflection and awareness, like bringing all that, which is obviously part of some of the stuff we already do, is bringing that stuff to the like all the events that have come up for them. Um, and then getting to understand their family dynamics, forgiveness, effective communication, and boundary setting. And then like rebuilding that family connection and something to do with mediation, like helping each other see each side. But then I don't know if that would be possible in a program to get like, you know, they get to the end and now it's like the step to, okay, get your mum or your dad in a session and let's like speak to them or like have them come in and then do, I don't know how that would look and I don't think I'm qualified enough to do something like that, but just to have that in like that powerful conversation and like see a family reconnect.
I know how to do that.
But
I
that,
should. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, like to have that because I know that, and even watching TV series, um, they've actually brought like a child or a young like a youth has brought their parent into a therapy session and the child's just able to fucking say what they've needed to say and the parents like listening and then it like changes the way they work together after the session. And I saw that in a TV series and it just like dropped for me. I'm like, fuck, that'd be so cool to be able to initiate that for someone or have that available for someone. Although it wouldn't work with everyone because some parents are like, nah, fuck that, I'm not doing that. Like that's stupid. I don't believe in that stuff. You're crazy for doing that. Um, but yeah, that's kind of me dribbling out.
There's two or three. There's a few, to be honest. There's like four fantastic ways that I know of to do that mediation thing without needing the parent to be there.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, just seeing that as well, not even just parents, but even like trying to co-parent as well. Like I have a really close friend that has two older children, like teenage children, and it's their, their father's fully like really hurting them in a emotional way. And the mum's trying to communicate effectively with the dad, and he's just always, as he has been with her, as the mum, just shutting it down, turning it around on her, and just not doing and just making it worse. And the mum's really trying, and she's like, I can't, like he's not listening, and I can see it affecting my kids, and there's nothing I can do apart from just be there. But she doesn't, obviously, because she goes to therapy and stuff herself, but he doesn't. And so it's really hard for her to, yeah, it's like heartbreaking. So just to be able to help that, like have the parent that's try and get through to the other side, even though that's sometimes impossible. But yeah, just stuff like that. So there's a whole array of things in my mind that I'm like, that's why I think I haven't focused on one thing because there's just so many. I want to help everyone in different situations from what I've observed and what I've experienced. And I want to try and do all of it, which I know I can't, or so I thought I can't.
You know what's funny? If there was one theme that I could actually, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I
Please
can
do, because
see there's
maybe it would summarize everything in my head to be like, yes,
I
that's
can
right.
see one central focus point that all of this leads to in the real world.
Yeah, and it is.
It's well, it's relationship mastery. Can I say three things?
Yeah.
It's relationship mastery. It's um it's powerful conflict resolution
Mm,
or powerful or effective communication in relationships. It's like, yeah, like relationship mastery, conflict resolution, or effective relationship communication, something like that. Like that's where all of these roads, that's what it leads to in terms of like what they get as an outcome. Like
yeah.
in future,
I
they, yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I think like powerful conflict resolution or whatever. I think that is, yeah, just problem solving, conflict resolution, 100%, and like within relationships, I that does land.
Oh,
I feel like that's all that I try and do. I always try and see both sides, and I always want it resolved. Although, like in my personal life, sometimes, like especially, well, I guess partners are a bit different when you're hormonal and stuff. You don't want to resolve anything. You just want to be angry. But like, when people actually want to do that and resolve things, yeah. I feel like I want that for especially for other people. I want that for them, especially my sister and mum. It's just, yeah, I think my personal experience has made me really want that for everyone because I know there's a lot of people that have, you know, that that stuff going on.
yes. Because you could even end up like creating a methodology called PCRR, which is like it's the methodology for effective conflict resolution in relationships.
Mm.
It's great, so good. Um, yeah, I think my mind keeps looping on, cool, how do we sell it? What's the structure of the program? Like that's where my mind these days loops to. But um, how about this? I guess we can, from this point, go a few different angles. One is we can talk about like, okay, who do we sell it to? How are we going to sell it? And then like, what's the different products? That's one way this conversation can go now as the next step. Or the next step can go if there's anything left that you want to make sure is put onto the paper before we start to like, arrange things that we can do that. Or the third thing is we can flesh out like what the actual steps are, like the components of the IP to first, and then we can talk about products. What do you think is best?
I think when we think about products, that's what I struggle with, like knowing how to what to offer. Like I want to do all this stuff, but then I don't know how to do it for someone. Like I don't know how to develop that. So
Here's what I
um,
see, Shay. I just want you to know I really could be wrong with what I'm about to say. Could
that's
be
right.
limiting belief. In my experience, having said that, my experience is founded on selling to men, not women.
Yeah.
Women um, may pay for this more readily. Like men usually don't pay for this, um,
Mm.
unless they're really in trouble. But
Yeah.
women in general, I think, just care more about relationships and they're more as a result, they're more self-aware. So they feel the pain of not knowing this more. So either way, I feel like, see, for example, it's hard to sell this for $10,000. But if you're to sell a business coaching thing that, hey, we're going to help you make an extra 100 grand, it's a lot easier to sell that for $10,000. Now, that doesn't mean you can't make such a good thing with this.
Mm.
Um, it just might. So my friend and old coach Carly, her name was Carly Anna. Um, Carly had this fucking amazing. I think it was a 4 week course. I can't remember. Or maybe it was like 3 weeks. It was like a little mini course, which she delivered live in a group format. And she took us through all these concepts and she gave us like little activities and stuff. And it was called You Are the Magic, and it was like an intro course to all of this stuff, because a lot of people are not even aware, like they know that this is what they want, but they're not aware that fuck, there's something called inner child healing, and like a lot of this is like my stuff from my childhood that's like coming out here. And their first step is just to understand like what that stuff is. um and so Carly had like that. It was $400. It was called You Are the Magic, and it was a way to sample everything. Um,
Mm.
and it was so good. And then that it was so good that I'm like, Carly, I want to work with you more. And then that $400 course is what led you to the her one-on-one coaching stuff. So in terms of the actual product of how we can deliver this, so I can see this being a um something that includes 6 one-on-ones, say, because that's the thing that we already know. So I think we should use some of the stuff we already know until we iterate and refine and then, can get better. But um, like let's say it has 6 one-on-ones and it has a rolling group. And the rolling group is just like when you first pay for it, you get 2 months or something of the rolling group. And the rolling group sessions are every Wednesday evening or something like that. And you and me are on it. And maybe we can come up with content that we want to talk about. Like you clearly want to talk about this stuff, which is awesome. That's enough for 8 weeks, everything you've put here. And then we can just do a discussion at the end and answer people's questions at the end. It's pretty easy to do a rolling group. And then if people get value out of it, then they'll just stay on in the group, because relationships change, different things, this is a lot. It's life. So it gives them a community, it gives them a place to go, and it ideally creates some level of reoccurring income. And so then that group is always rolling. It's not like with Luke's programs and mine, unfortunately, which are a little bit difficult. When you have an event date, it's all about like push, 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 push for the event date. And then push, push, push next event date, like that's a kind of harder. But when you have like a rolling group, it's just like there's going to be some times where you don't feel like pushing and you don't feel like marketing. And in those times, you've got like you've got the income still coming in. But then when new clients come in, we onboard them through the one-on-ones and we put them into the group. That's what I can see. And then in terms of customer acquisition, um, two ways. One of them is we can first try and get people into like a $400 or something easier, like a lighter level course. And then once the trust is there, we can bring them into this higher level, or we can just try and bring everyone up to the higher level. But then the good news is we're not restricted to Australia. We can sell this um, to US, which I think would go very well.
Mm.
And then, for example, inner child healing, cool. We have the setup for that. We can do that one-on-one. Deep self, no problem. We have the setup for that. Understand, no problem. We can do that in group. We should in fact teach that through group, and through online courses. Forgiveness, gorgeous. Online courses, group work, rebuilding family connection. So here's the way I can see it done. One is Ho'oponopono, like you teach them that, you have the photo, they literally do it as a 21-day practice. Everyone in the group does it. It's number one. Number two is Martini method. The more you heal the charges you have with that person, your dynamic changes. Because by the way, if you think about it, if you think about what we really want in terms of how we want to speak with people, if you strip away it all, presumably, especially when you're in a difficult place, it's like, hey, look, man, I don't need this person to be everything for me. I just want us to have loving communication. Would that be fair to say?
Mhm.
Yeah, and DiMartini method creates that, like so with Chris, like the more we heal those charges with his mum, he's not necessarily going to try to build an empire with her, but at least he's going to speak to her and he's not going to expect her to be anything different than who she is. And I actually think that's the best base to build a relationship when you're just accepting each other for who you are and you're
Yeah.
just being loving and kind. This is a specific skill which I can teach, no problem, and I'm sure you can teach. Co-parenting, I know nothing about, but we might need to flesh that one out, you know?
Yeah. That's
Um,
why I'm not sure because I haven't need to co-parent, but I have seen people struggle with it. I'm like, oh, just if I knew how to help that situation.
hmm. So, so yeah, in terms of delivery, that's how I can see it done.
Mm.
For me, um, the harder part is actually getting customers in for this. But maybe a good way to do that part, even like let's say we don't do the $400 course and we just try to bring people straight up to say um how how much do you think a 2 month, which includes six sessions plus weekly group sessions for 2 months, how much do you think that should cost?
Um, it's I'm just trying to think back on like my program that I was doing, even though it's a bit different. Just those sessions, like the timeline therapy and support if they needed it. I was like doing that for 3,000, but I'm not sure if like doing this for something different, it will be more.
Oh, you're the best.
because like there's more, like especially if you're not just on your own, you don't really have too many resources in my situation. I felt like I couldn't charge much more than that. But if there's, yourself and us like doing stuff and like, there's more stuff, then obviously, yeah.
What about this? Like, and then like, what if we just give them options so they don't get to have the $300 thing until that's the after sell thing, like that's later down the track for the reoccurring. But then this is for like let's say it's 3,000 um 3,000 let me just find US dollars AUD to USD. So it's basically 2 grand US. Like I think for our first run, people will buy this, like for these price points.
Mm.
What do you think?
Well, I still need, I've got like money stories in my head and all that stuff that I know.
But I know you do. That's why I'm keen to hear your opinion about it. Do you think that these prices are too high or too low or
I don't think they're too high, but then it's the uncertainty of, the people, even though we want to target people, I'm thinking about people that have maybe struggled through like domestic violence or like different things. They also will have a money block and not think that they can afford it, or they can't because they're, like my friend can't afford therapy stuff. She can't afford to go to yoga because she has kids and co-parenting. Like that's what I start thinking about.
I know,
So
man. Yeah.
yeah. So and that's like my own shit. Like that I am, yeah.
But like I'm saying this and I'm fucking a brother in arms with you, Shay, on this. And I would love to hear what you I'm not trying to say what we should do. I really want to hear from you. Here's why I'm saying all this shit. Because if you are like a bona fide, genuine entrepreneurial girl, like you are supposed to be one of the best. You are like one of the best of us, right? You look how much shit you fucking done on yourself and whatever, and you're entrepreneurial, and even you are looking at this, and this is not personal to you. I'm actually saying if even someone at your level it has money blocks come up, not because of the physical number, but because even someone at your level has money blocks, then that's what I think we're going to experience when we go out to the market and we try to sell is like if even someone at Shay's level has money blocks, then fuck man, like um it might it may be a little bit difficult to sell to people who've not even done half the work you've done, which is most people.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So that's where I think we got to be smart about like how do we get people into this program? How do we make them comfortable? You know? Because it's a really meaningful program. Um, and I'm not saying we should follow the road that I went down because Shay, what's funny? This stuff that's here is what I set out to do initially.
Mm.
I set out, in a more boy way, do this stuff and also just help them find their purpose and feel their best self. And it was this really wholesome, good message. And I personally encountered the exact same thing. A lot of and I know Luke, this is what Luke talks to me about all the time. Literally when I was with him on Saturday, he's literally looking at Bondi and he's like, none of these people have any money. Like this is like word for word what he said. Looking and Bondi's supposed to be a rich area, you know. Um, he's like, none of these people have any money. And so hence now you see Dim fucking going about performance and business and entrepreneur. It's not because the truth is this is who I am. What's on this page is who I am. But when I tried those people, it was hard to get them to buy.
Yeah. I, yeah. Even when I was in that, like I would be like, oh, it's too much. I can't afford it. And like even when I went to Luke, I'm like, Luke, this is all I have. Like I want to do this so bad. I physically cannot afford it. I like showed him. I'm like, I have nothing, nothing to be able to do your course. But then we did the payment plan stuff. But yeah, like that's how much I really wanted to do it. But I feel like there's a lot of people in this situation. They really, really, really want to do things. They just can't afford it. So they just, that's why they're stuck. So how do
Well,
we
here's
help?
the good news. Like we do have access to a finance broker that like we can get them a loan to do
Hmm,
this. But often at times, even if we can get someone a loan, they're still scared to spend the money.
yeah. So
What do you think?
no, I agree, but I just don't know how. And I think that's where I just kind of didn't push so hard with my stuff because mine was all about this stuff and helping people get through their trauma to be their best version of themselves. But then it's like how do you get people to pay that money? And I just kept getting stuck because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't work it out.
I can offer an idea, but we don't have to go with my idea. I'm your friend, right? I'm just speaking to you as a friend, and we can just think about it. We don't have to make a decision now. Shall I offer an idea?
Yes, you shall.
All right, I shall. Did you hear me talk about this before?
The Book of Wealth. Um, not sure. I'll say no.
So this is the first volume of 10, right? So the actual thing is like a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Um, it was initially only distributed to the top 400 wealthiest families in the whole world for like fucking thousands of years, you know? And basically, it's a study of all of the richest of wealth and what it does, what it takes to create wealth. Very difficult book to read. Anyway, when I was studying with John was like quoting a lot of stuff. Anyway, there was this quote that I read in it. It basically says, if you want to create wealth, it was like, if you want to create wealth, find the natural resources of your country. Like, we don't have to talk about country, right? But this quote, find the natural resources of your country and find a country which is poor in your natural resources, but rich in the natural resources that you want, and then exchange with them. So it's like so our natural resources is this stuff. That's what we got, right? Now there's a whole kind of demographic of people who are poor in the natural resource that we have, right? So this is us here. We're the green. We've got this natural resource that no one else, like these people, don't have. But then there's all these people are poor. So what we've got to find is who in this circle, and let's say the natural resource that we want is money, right? So within this whole pool of all the people that don't have the green, we've got to find the people that have the blue, which is the money, and who want the green. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So in my view, the people that have the money who are poor in this, I would say are like high performance women or entrepreneurial women, because I think entrepreneurial women will have the money, or like just executives and shit. Like they will have the money and they will feel the pain of like, fuck, like I'm struggling with feeling good in my business or career or whatever because my relationship life is really suffering. And if my relationship life suffers, then eventually my business suffers. So for me, it's worth spending the money with Dim and Shae because yeah, so that's my opinion on who we sell it to. But then that's different from, even me, Shay, where I was selling it to the kind of boys that I grew up with, because that's kind of, but what I can, so here's what we could do to meet both, Shay.
Mhm.
We could do a series on YouTube. We could use a good, um, there's some good podcast platforms we can just use your computer to do, but they look nice. And we can create a whole free series on YouTube speaking about each of these points, you and me together. And we can just teach people for free all of these points. That way, from a heart level, it we feel that we've looked after, like if there's people that don't have the money, like we can still help them because we want to actually help people. And then either we have like a $400 course for them, which brings them up. Um, and or yeah, we just target entrepreneurial women. But if we target entrepreneurial women, um, it's going to change like obviously our marketing and our language and how we speak.
Mhm.
But I would say it would be very fulfilling to help entrepreneurial women because they are leaders and so ladies like that will um like if we teach them they will teach other people. Just some thoughts, but yeah, what do you think?
Yes, I haven't thought about that before because I've been stuck in the helping the others, like lift them up into be able to do that to become a entrepreneur and in those like leadership roles is to get them to then give them the push up. So maybe like people that are striving to become leaders in their industries or whatever it is, like those people that are so motivated to get that, it's just they haven't reached that because of the blockages. So like they're almost there. So maybe they are in a position where they are financially able. They just want to get to that top spot. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, for them to get to that top spot, usually they're going to be buying professional coaching or professional skills. They won't be buying relationship skills, you know?
Yeah.
Unless we can
What
do,
I think what I meant by that was that they feel like they can't, not necessarily like, what do I need to do in my business to be able to get there? They know on a deeper level, like, you know, this, maybe this, I don't know, this is just me spilling out words. Like the situation I'm in at home won't allow me to progress into what I want to do, or this situation that, like, I keep thinking about this and I'm just stuck in the past and I just get so demotivated and I can't get to where I want to be because I'm stuck here. But they are in like a well-paying job type thing where they can afford that stuff, not necessarily trying to do it with their like business, but more that they're aware that it's more than that, but then sometimes they're not aware that it's more than that. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, don't stress if this is hard. We're literally talking about building a new business here, and we're making insanely good headway for one conversation.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
that's what I think I want to help those shit like feeling people that I haven't looked at the people that are, you know, on that. But then that's probably the story that, because I've come from, like, my parents are on Centrelink. My dad hasn't worked for you. My mum doesn't work. Like, I feel like that's probably why maybe I'm keep going back there is because of my own story. So then that's kind of like,
I love that about you though, Shay, honestly. If you look at my childhood photos, all the toys are from St. Vincent de Paul. They're all like mix and match toys. So, I promise I understand. And that's why that's why I spent for me personally, like 4+ years, maybe 5 years marketing to them.
yeah,
And I was very poor.
yeah. And I get that pattern. Like you market to that. That's like what you're going to receive. That Does that make sense? Like what you're just going to get if you're on that level. That's all you're going to get. So that's I think what you're saying about the YouTuber offering like free or like little flash courses here and there for those people that could get something, and maybe in that course have them like there's something potent for them to be able to like you know change their wealth and money mindset. Maybe that's part of the course in there is this is money mindset to get them affording more to get them up. But
I
then
mean, yeah, I'm in for that. I can tell you something which might actually help you,
hmm,
is it did help me.
yeah,
Um, I spent like, as you know, 4 or 5 years, let's say four, really trying to heavy lift these guys that are in the same demographic you're talking about. What I noticed, Shay, is like in the meetups and stuff in the years after, those guys were so grateful for me, but genuinely, they never really moved that far beyond where I took them.
yeah,
Um, the reason being is because those guys, in my view, genuinely didn't have growth as a very high value. They had come to me because of pain, not because of growth. And so, like, they actually didn't they only were really taking about 5% of all the stuff I had to give them. They were only taking about 5%. Um, Whereas one day Dennis comes through, and Dennis was $500,000 in debt, but that's because he had this big construction company and he was just down and out because everything fucked up. But what I noticed with Dennis was like Dennis literally took 100, like he was able to take, like I remember with one guy back in the day, Shay, not Dennis, someone else, I dumped energy into him for like 2 hours and he only moved like 2 centimeters because of it. But then with Dennis, it was like I just spoke to him for 10 minutes and he could take it 10 miles because he kind of was spiritually ready to receive more because he had kind of experienced more in a way. Like he was in the field more, trying more, and
mhm,
as a result, like the depth of what I would like, he literally he took it take an inch and run a mile. But with the other guys, I gave them a mile and it was like they moved an inch because like spiritually they were not really ready to receive more than that. And for me, this is my own personal experience. Like for example, if I was to try to give my parents timeline therapy and stuff, it's like I don't think they're really ready to receive that because they don't really want to grow that much.
yeah,
Um, so that made me realize like I'm not disserving the old demographic by not bringing them into the $4,000 course. Because I
yeah,
realized like I don't think those boys that in my view they were not really able to receive what I was trying to give them. Um, but
yeah,
yeah, I actually think I would have been more of a service to give them a $400 course, which actually met them at the level that they were at.
yeah, yeah. No, I see that 100%. I think maybe like the more you were talking then is like, yes, I agree to focus on like what you were saying, but then like content that would be produced and stuff triggers the people that aren't there to that get there, but then you're not necessarily putting one-on-one time with them, you're just trying to find ways to trigger them in that way to want to,
Yes.
yeah.
Because if that's the case, here what might be a better way to execute this. Because I really feel like I can relate to the heart
Mhm.
of like, look, man, I've fucking come from nothing and I don't want to just sell to rich people. Like I also want to help the people because my heart is there. I think that's what you're saying, right? Right?
Yeah.
What about this? Like, if we can find a good video editor, then you and me can create some sick fucking podcasts where we genuinely like talk about all of these topics and we like really talk about how to help like how you move the needle with these topics. Um, we publish it for free on YouTube. We get the video editor to create it into reels, unless you want to do that and create them into reels. And then we just pump like give them. And then we have like a course that these people can afford, which is like $400, and we just help them. And then of that demographic, there will be some people that go up to the higher program, and then maybe we've just got to go for broader, and that's how we can monetize it. And then if high performance people come, we have high performance offerings for them too.
Mm.
Because I think we can do it all, but I think it's just going to be a stretch to do it all at once. I think
Yeah.
it's just about figuring out what we do first. And I actually think the content part is not a bad idea to do first. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of led by you because you've done like so that's why I haven't done anything myself is because I don't know like if I had known, I would have done it and I would have been earning fucking thousands and whatever. But I'm not. So that's where I think you need to come in and say, no, we need to do it this way because I know from experience this is the direction, but still, like you're saying, like still offer content for the people that can't really afford it and offer a cheaper thing and have that there, but maybe not push it as much. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, but like just have it there, and then like the people that are the higher, you know, value. I guess how would you describe that? The upper level,
yeah.
um, like focus on that and everything.
And the reason I'm kind of walking you through just gently the journey that I've been on is because I feel like if I was to just say, no, Shay, we're just doing it to the executives or blah blah blah, like I think there'll be a part of you that will feel unresolved and unsatisfied. And that's why I'm genuinely showing you like from the heart, like I did try it this way, and I actually found they were not able to receive what I
No,
actually had.
I get that.
Yeah.
Like I think I lost a friendship from trying to help them and they didn't want to see it and I triggered them too much or I just didn't take their like I didn't allow their shit to be spoken about unless they fixed it and they didn't want to fix it and I think I like actually pushed them away and they were at that level that lower level of you know they just didn't want to sit they weren't ready and then that
Yes.
makes sense like you do this they could only meet you where they're at and they weren't where I was at in how I wanted to help them.
Here's what I reckon genuinely the best plan is then. I think that we're going to end up finding and marketing to entrepreneurial women. I say that because I can relate very well to those ladies because I'm an entrepreneurial man.
Yeah,
Um, I get, and they're my natural friends as well. Like that's if you
yeah,
get my actual friendships, that's who they are. So I think we're gonna find some good ladies like that.
yeah.
Um, I think that's where this road's going to go,
Mhm.
and we'll make good money with that. I think that still, I actually do think the best place for us to start though is to do like I don't know, 10-part YouTube series or like YouTube videos in each of these. Um, and whether it's you, if you want it as a project or someone else, we've got to produce reels out of it also. Um, and and um and then and then we can just have like a $400 a month course, uh,
Yeah.
$400 course or whatever. And I think that will just genuinely fucking just help people. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and then when the high performance ladies will naturally come, and then we'll bring them up to a higher level here. And then and then eventually, maybe 3 to 6 months from now, we can specifically target them through outreach strategies and other things. But this will, I think, going through it with this route will still create a strong foundation for us for sure. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right. Well, can I get your help with something then?
Yeah.
You do you use ChatGPT often?
I've got yes. I used it for a whole course once.
Nice. So could you do this for me? Number one, so we need to populate this section. That's action step number one. We got to populate here. Yeah. Action step number two is eventually we've got to figure out what our 5 steps are to get them from point A to point B. Um, you understand what I mean by like the 5 steps, right?
I believe so, like what they would do, like say for the first, this is me, hopefully I'm getting it right. Like the first one is like becoming aware of their stuff and then what to do next, and then like lead them across the bridge with different stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. That could be one way, or the other way. That's what you just described is what I do. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's one way. The other way is, Stephen Covey calls it 7 habits of highly effective people. So it's kind of like you don't have to do these habits in order, but these are the 7 habits that if you do them, and the more and the better you do them, the more you're going to be this person. So one way is kind of a sequential way, and the other one is just like these are the elements, keep beefing them up. So yeah, you choose.
Mm.
What I would suggest, Shay, as action points from today is definitely fill this step in, which is describe like what they're experiencing at the current state. So they, for example, don't really feel like they have a voice. Maybe it's they don't feel like they have a voice. Maybe they feel like they're walking on eggshells. Maybe they just feel like they are trapped in a relationship. Maybe they just feel stuck in relationships because they're afraid to have one. Like yeah, what you would want to describe what they feel like at the moment, and then um, I would put all of this information into ChatGPT. So what that would look like is just go, um, ChatGPT, I want to, I'm designing a new product. I want you to remember everything I'm about to tell you, right? So I don't need your recommendations. I just need you to fucking remember all this shit. So like, this is what my current target market is like. This is where they want to get to, and this is what they're experiencing, and this is what they need. Um, and I'm thinking of selling it this way, and just tell it everything that we talked about in this conversation. That'll help you refine it, and then that'll give us a database that we can easily work with to create content ideas and stuff. If you could do that as a first step, then what we can do is we can flesh out what 10 YouTube videos or however many YouTube videos are going to be, and we can flesh out what this is. If you can, Shay, have a think about what these are and even flesh it out and or draft it up, and I can weigh in with what I think as well. And then maybe we can, if you can put it all into ChatGPT, then we can make our first project recording some podcasts about this. Second project, scheduling and printing out reels. Third project is creating the online platform for it. And then we just bring people in, and then we're in business, you know. What do you think about this?
Yeah, good. I'm just nervous about talking to people, and that's been a thing. Like, as in, like podcasts, like being able to just talk. I don't know. It might be a bit different, like doing it with someone else, like and back and forward type conversation, because I feel like I can have conversations about different things well, but just when it goes, all right, now this is for something as content, I would go, oh, can I do it?
That's why I'm doing it with you. It'll be so much easier when we're just talking
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
And remember, like, yeah, and how do we anyone get better? We just got to fucking do so many reps. You just get better. Um, yeah. What's your star sign again?
Leo.
Oh, you're supposed to be good at this.
I know. I feel what it is I need knowledge before I can push something out. And if I don't have the knowledge, I can't do it. That's a story I tell myself. Instead of just do it and you'll figure it out, which I tell other people to do. But when I like, especially speaking, and I think that's about the finding the voice, I think, because I've had, wasn't able to have a voice in certain situations, or like I felt like I couldn't, or I felt not intimidated by people above, like, those high. And maybe that's why this is probably just dropped in. That's why I feel a bit nervous, like maybe not, but I don't in the moment. When I actually speak to people that are higher up with high, like, big roles of, important people, like I can actually speak to them fine without being like, oh, I can't talk to that person. But I think teaching and educating them, I feel like for some reason they're superior and I can't teach them anything because
Yeah,
they could be higher up. I can't offer them anything. And that's a story I tell myself. If that
it's a
makes
good one. No, it's a good one. Do you know the own the trades process from John? Yeah,
no.
cool. I got to teach it to you. Um, simply speaking, right? Think of the people that you're intimidated by. People will come into your mind. Like when you think of like these higher up people, I guarantee you, like there'll be people that pop up into your mind that you're actually thinking about,
Well,
right?
I don't think necessarily like individual. I think I'm just projecting like the type of people, like powerful women, because I want to be like a
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. But
yeah,
you will actually in your history,
yeah.
you'll have images in your mind of who these powerful women are. Even if you don't really know them, even if you fucking just saw them once on an Instagram reel and you don't even know their name, like I'm not telling you to do this process now. I'm just telling you what the process is.
Yeah.
Like step number one is you in your mind will have references of experiences of who powerful women are. Even if you can't remember their name, you'll remember who they are. Step number two, write down all of the traits of them. Step number three, there's more to it than this, but for now, step number three is write down all the times you have done those traits. And basically, you own all of the traits that you see in someone else. So the more you realize, oh shit, I'm just seeing myself. Like when you see those powerful women, um, the less you'll be intimidated.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because I
then the
know
more you can
that
serve.
yeah, because I've been told that I can come across as intimidating. I'm like, what? No, I'm not.
You can. But the thing is, you might be doing it in the dark, so it doesn't bother me, but like you might you might not realize like so you might be doing it in the dark. Because I thought like when I was looking at your Instagram before I knew who met you, like you felt very intimidating to me,
Mm.
you know? So I was like, oh shit, whatever. She stayed consistent in the game, so she's a good one. So let's see if I can get her help. But yeah, another example, I gotta go, but
Yeah.
um like because I grew up in this gang infested Western Sydney and it's very multicultural. So like for example, the white boys that I grew up with, they are like brothers to me. That they feel very different to the white boys from the eastern suburbs in Sydney. It's very homogenous there. They've only grown up with like rich white kids, So I'm not from like it's a very kind of exclusive demographic. And so I had this opportunity to run breathwork at the most prominent gym in Bondi. It'll be like incredible opportunity. Um, and the first thing that popped up into my mind, even at 36 years old, is I'm like, fuck, like this is like the antithesis of even the white boys from where I've grown up, they would be intimidated by these guys,
Yeah.
or they would just not like each other. They're like polar opposites. So I had to do this, I did this process also on them.
Yeah.
And my Lord, you like learn so much. I'll take you through it. You learn so much, and then the end result is love. Like you just see yourself in them, and then you connect really beautifully to them. So it's an
Yeah.
incredible secret, incredible skill to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you find this chat?
Yeah, good. No, it's like it brings everything out. It's just now I kind of want to be like, all right, let's start doing the things that need to be done to get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
I feel like someone needs to direct me because I'm like this little free train, just like, woo, I've got all these ideas. And now where do I put them? What do I do? And how do I do it? I don't know.
Well, yeah, it would really sincerely help me if you put all of this stuff into ChatGPT. And then what would be an incredible output is if you can say, Dim, here's 10 YouTube ideas, and and you can get ChatGPT to give this to you.
Yeah.
10 YouTube ideas. Ideally, when you put this in, you'll know what the YouTube ideas should be, like as in what the topics should be. And then ChatGPT can help us go, well, here's the most commonly asked questions that people Google about each of these things. And then we can even make like a video answering each of the questions. Then it's
Right.
like a piece of cake to record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that as a next step?
Yeah, yeah. I can do I just hope I put in ChatGPT the right information, like as in how to ask it, because I haven't done that, like asking them in that way and used it in some.
Mm.
So I'll just go back and listen to what you said to put in there.
Yeah, like literally just say to it, dude, I'm gonna fucking tell I'm trying to build a new course. Here, I'm just saving this image and sending it to you. Um, yeah, just be like, dude, I'm built tell it about you. I'm a women's coach, and I specialize in relationships and inner child healing and whatever, and just tell it a little bit about you. Um, and then just say, I'm creating this new program. All I want you to do is just retain this fucking information. Can you just do that? And then it'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then
then
and then you can ask it, hey, like, I need to create some YouTube videos,
yeah.
and I'm thinking it should be about these 10 topics. What do you think? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Is that
right. Good. I'll do that today. I've got an osteo appointment soon. So after that I'll come back and do that.
all right? All right, I better run. But
Yeah.
I think that was a good call today. I think we did good.
Yeah, that was good. We'll have to book in the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll talk soon.
No worries. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.